Hello, my name is Eileen Potoshnak, and I come before you guys today to talk about the healthcare workforce shortages and give you guys my policy alternative to help combat this healthcare issue. As we all are aware, having healthcare is essential in ensuring that we continue to live our healthy lives. Therefore, we must ensure that the workforce continues to thrive instead of diminishing, ultimately leaving us without the proper treatment. What can we do to make sure that the number of shortages decrease? During this presentation, I will give you guys possible alternatives to this policy and tell you guys which one is my best solution in hopes that you guys will ultimately agree. Before we get to the matter at hand with the alternative I am suggesting, I want to explain why all of this matters and who the primary stakeholders are in this healthcare issue. First and foremost, the patients that are getting the care are impacted the most because when the people who are working in the field leave, they are stuck without the proper care. As with the patients, the organizations that are involved diminish because the employees quit and they must be replaced. However, if there is a change in policy, the quality of care does not have to change, and the constant rise in people needing health care will get the health care that they deserve due to the workforce being stable. As you can see in this slide, studies show that there will continue to be a need for workers in the future, and we cannot ensure that this is plausible if we do not amend this policy. Ultimately, we know that there are not enough people working in the healthcare field to begin with, and as I have mentioned, there will continue to be a need for healthcare, and ultimately, I believe that staff are leaving because of the pay that they are receiving and also because of a lack of respect, and I will be touching more upon that when it comes to my policy alternative. I know from experience that when it comes to working in healthcare, especially in that of a nonprofit organization, the pay is not great, and the individuals that we serve are ultimately the only reason that we stay sometimes. The lack of pay was one of the reasons why I decided to leave my current position. Last year, there was a Be Fair to Direct Care March, which allowed for direct care professionals and the individuals that are served to come up with a plan to increase the wages of those working in the field. However, when it came down to it, not everyone got the pay that they deserved, ultimately leaving some making less than others and not feeling respected enough to stay in that position because ultimately it was unfair. I keep going back to lack of pay because I believe that this essentially is the base of our problem. I and two of my coworkers have decided to leave the organization that we worked for because we did not find it fair enough to continue sustaining our job for such little pay. ultimately leaving the organization in a bind and causing a workforce shortage in its own. Hopefully, with the alternative that I am suggesting, this will not continue to happen. During my research, I had found a lot of policy alternatives that have already been taken. These are three that I believe are really important. They include the introduction of new technologies in the healthcare field to ultimately increase efficiency, effectiveness, and employee satisfaction, which leads to existing workers being retained, including those that are able to retire, and also ultimately attracting a new generation of workers because of the technology that is being introduced. Another policy that I have found is that in Washington, they had work groups that ultimately gave their reasoning as to why they were leaving and what could have been done to ensure that they stayed. The last policy that I found was in Alaska, they decided to pass a bill that provided student loan repayments and an incentive to those eligible in the healthcare field to eliminate some of the debt that they are ultimately paying off for getting the job that they wanted. I believe out of those three that I have listed, technology appears to be the best policy alternative. I say this because I think that it brings a new aspect to healthcare, allowing for there to be a constant growth in how we access healthcare, ultimately giving workers a sense of need in their job. I know that since changing the last position that I was in to the one I am in now, we have access to a lot of records, a lot of healthcare information that make my job easier. And because of that, I am getting paid a little bit more to have those at my fingertips. But I believe that this is making healthcare workers want to stay in their jobs because they believe that they are helping people through this new technology. Ultimately, I think with technology brings a higher wage increase due to the amount of work that you have to do. And instead of losing the current workforce, the workforce learns this technology and more positions are retained, in my opinion. In conclusion, I believe that the future of healthcare stems from technology, and this should be the alternative that we take. The introduction of technology to me means retention, like I have mentioned. And with retention, I believe comes the pay and respect that ultimately make healthcare workers want to leave their current positions. And I hope that you guys make sure that technology is the reason that this policy changes. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you all have a great day.